After receiving a lot of feedback from the player base, MiHoYo has revealed their initial plans in making new changes for Zhongli and even the Geo Element itself. The first and most important change to Zhongli is going to be the way his damage scales. When he was initially released, a lot of players were building Zhongli through the traditional route of a physical damage dealer. However, his damage wasn't up to the standards of many players, especially the ones who were beginners in the game. And even if there was a possibility to make Zhongli into a strong damage dealer that utilizes his basic attacks, there was a high cost requirement at obtaining a strong 5-star polearm weapon and optimized artifacts. And because of this, the most reliable build for Zhongli was either utilizing health or a mix of traditional support equipment, and this way Zhongli's primary purpose was to generate powerful shields that allow players to survive incoming attacks in content such as the Spiral Abyss. This intended playstyle was even confirmed by MiHoYo themselves after they posted the developer's response letter stating that Zhongli's primary role consists of supporting the teammates. However, this first change mentioned in their official Zhongli changelog announcement now states that his passive skill grants the basic attacks to receive 1.39% of damage from his maximum health, and his stone steel pillars and hold skill damage will also get 1.9% additional damage, which also scales with his maximum health, while his meteor burst attack remains unchanged, which still benefits a whopping 33% of additional damage based on his maximum health. Basically, building Zhongli with health now provides even more benefits than just having a stronger burst skill. And MiHoYo have also included the comparison pictures that show the changes implemented on the picture to the left compared to the current one of Zhongli on the right. Please be aware these changes are not final and are only previews of what MiHoYo is planning to do with Zhongli, and this is not the final confirmation of the upcoming update. This also applies to every other change that will be mentioned in the video. All in all, this seems like a very welcome addition to possibly making Zhongli into a strong damage dealer that will be able to depend on his basic attacks. Since this change, along with every other one mentioned in the video, will be coming in the 1.3 update, there's still plenty of time to see what's to come, and it's hard to tell if this is going to drastically improve his damage output, but nevertheless, it is going to be increased either way. The second change that Zhongli will receive is going to be an exciting one, since before the change, you would summon a stone steel only by activating the skill, while you could generate a strong shield for him when holding the skill. Now it seems to be that in the upcoming update, Zhongli will summon a stone steel even when he uses his elemental skill when holding it, which means even when he generates a shield, he is going to provide the pillar for the team. And this is probably one of the best changes that is going to give an even better advantage for those who are using Zhongli as their support character. And that's because one of the most common strategies using him was actually to generate a shield and drop a meteor, while creating a pillar was a secondary goal, although it was one of the ways you could generate energy for him. But because we're now going to get a pillar and a shield just from holding his skill, not only will we get protection, but also energy generation packed into one. This is only going to make things trickier for those who have unlocked the first constellation for Zhongli, where he can have up to 2 pillars on the field. And yet, this is something that already feels like a powerful addition, even without testing it, since it's clear that he definitely needed a way to create this combo of a shield and pillar more quickly than waiting for the cooldown to finish before activating a shield. Also, if you're interested in following the progress of Zhongli updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter, link in the description. Now, the last thing that's important to mention is that when he currently starts generating a shield from his elemental skill, he can get interrupted by enemy attacks. However, in the upcoming adjustment, Zhongli is going to have a stronger resistance to interruption, meaning he will have an easier time casting his shield when getting hit by enemy attacks. So now that we know MiHoYo is planning to implement such a major change for Zhongli, there's only one thing that's remaining, and it's definitely going to shake things up for the Geo Element itself. What's most surprising about this newest announcement for Zhongli is that he's not the only one who's going to receive some major changes. In fact, the whole Geo Element is getting a facelift like no other. And the first major change is going to be regarding the Geo Resonance effect. Currently, when you activate the Enduring Rock Resonance effect, you get an increased resistance to interruption, and when you're protected by a shield, your attack damage increases by 15%. However, this newest proposed adjustment is going to first increase the shield strength by 15%, and characters who are protected by a shield will have an increased attack by 15%, and they will also lower the enemy's resistance to Geo by 20% for 15 seconds. Basically, this means that Geo Resonance is now going to provide a stronger shield, and your attacks will not only deal increased damage, but also lower enemies' resistance by quite a lot. The only thing that seems to be missing is the fact that there's no mention if the resistance to interruption is still going to be part of the resonance effect. Still, this is a huge change for the element, and we can already expect to see a lot of players testing this out with the Retracing Bolide artifact set, and even without the set, this is still a very welcome addition addition to an already existing update announcement, and it's a matter of time before we can see for ourselves whether activating this resonance effect will provide a reliable boost in damage. The only thing that needs to be kept in mind is that you only get these bonuses as long as you're under the shield's effect. Finally, the last change, and probably the most interesting one, is the adjustment to the absorption values of the Geo Shield. This change is going to affect Zhongli, Noelle, and the Geovi Sharp enemies who drop the Geo Crystals. Basically, instead of getting 250% increased absorption rate for Geo damage, characters will now have a split of 150% absorption rate for both physical and Geo damage. And this means that while the absorption is going to be weaker for the Geo damage, we're instead going to have Geo Shields be more efficient at absorbing physical attacks and Geo attacks, and the trade-off is going to be an interesting one to see. Still, there are no shields in the game that can absorb physical damage efficiently, so this is definitely going to be a good change, especially since both Noelle and Zhongli can generate these shields. But to summarize, the biggest 4 changes that are coming in 1.3 update regarding Zhongli and the Geo Element will first include Zhongli getting increased damage that scales off his maximum health and will affect his basic attacks, elemental skill, and elemental burst. And Zhongli will also now be able to summon a pillar even after he uses his elemental skill to generate a shield, which will effectively allow him to obtain energy and protection at the same time, not to mention he will also have an increased resistance to interruption when casting the shield. Finally, the Geo Element's resonance bonus is getting reworked, and it's going to provide more damage and even more shield strength, while the Geo Shield itself will now be able to absorb both physical and Geo attacks more efficiently at the trade-off of having a weaker absorption rate for the Geo itself. Let us know in the comments section what are your thoughts on these upcoming changes in the 1.3 update. Also, don't forget to subscribe to us by hitting the bell notification on and gently pressing the like button. Thank you for watching us.